This is probably the last time 84-year-old retired General of the Army Omar Bradley will formally review the troops. In this case, Reserve and National Guard units. The General and Mrs. Bradley, after a 10-year residence in Southern California, are moving to Fort Bliss near El Paso, Texas. Bradley's military career began in 1911, and he graduated from West Point 4 years later in a class that included 56 men who were later to become generals. One was Dwight Eisenhower. Bradley's Army career was uneventful until World War II, in which he served as a tactician and strategist. Following D-Day, Bradley was in command of more than 1.25 million men, the greatest number of troops under one field commander in military history. After the war, he became the first chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He retired in 1953 and later served as Veterans Administrator. Bradley has suffered numerous ailments in the last few years, including a stroke. And so he and Mrs. Bradley have decided to move to Fort Bliss, where the Army has a major medical center.
Since I have been restricted to a wheelchair, my trips to Army posts to touch base with our servicemen and servicewomen have been considerably curtailed. My wife and I long ago decided it is better to be in a wheelchair than not to be. But in a wheelchair or out of it, at this stage of my life, I want to be on a post serving our Army and our nation.
The General will move next week, and Omar Bradley will be back on an Army post once again.